Hello. Welcome. Up, children. Hope y'all are good tonight. Welcome. I'm gonna wait for a few people to get here. We're gonna talk music industry tonight. Yes, I'm gonna talk about my real experiences and what I've learned and how I think it can change how we view the industry. All right, I see y'all. Come on in. We're gonna talk about it tonight. Some things that I think could be really helpful in what you're trying to do and how you're trying to move forward. I know sometimes people just want to be big. And my friend Isaac Curry says, sometimes you're trying to be big, but little got you. Little doesn't mean little money, little chart position, little influence. It means little mindset. You know? I'll wait for some more of y'all to come. Come on in. Come on, son, I need you to pick that up and go take it and throw it away.
Yes, Mom.
I just finished cooking dinner. Real life happens. So just a few more minutes. Thank y'all who are here. I see Eric Dawkins. Hello. I see you. I see you. Hey, all about EC. Priscilla. Hello. Hi, Brian. Is the baby here yet? Lonnie Hunter. Oh, we got some heavyweights in here. Thank y'all for being here. Byron Cage. Come on. So let me tell you, the reason I wanted to do this is because I follow a lot of you on social media, and whether you consider yourself an influencer or successful in the industry, I think there's a lot of information that we lack. I'll tell you a story. When I got started early on, I worked with a lawyer, and I was only in the stage plays. I wasn't even officially a recording artist. And I was telling him that I didn't want to be tricked. I didn't want someone to take advantage of me. I told him I didn't want to deal with crooks. And what he said was, a lot of times the person that you deem as a crook is not a crook. They just had more information than you. And so if you enter an industry and all you know is, I just want to sing, and you don't have any information, you really will be brokenhearted. You'll be disappointed. There's been so many things that have happened over my career where I was blessed to have somebody to just speak a very sobering truth that kept me from throwing it all away. Literally from walking away because it's not fair. And, I'm so talented. And why didn't they see me? And why don't they hear me? Which I think a lot of people, they have that issue. I remember me and Tina went to, I think probably the first Stellar Awards that we had gone to as Mary Mary. And we weren't nominated for anything, but the first record was out. And the first time the record came out, we never performed Shackles on the Stellar Awards when Shackles was Shackles. But we were there and excited. And I was talking to BB Winans, and he whispered in my ear, "Everybody's not happy for you." We was just happy. I thought everybody loved me. I loved everybody, and I didn't want anybody to tell me anything different. But the fact that he told me, everybody's not happy for you, it was very sobering. It didn't make me upset. It didn't make me angry. What it helped me to realize is that my purpose wasn't wrapped up in whether or not someone liked me. I knew that God had put me where I was supposed to be, and I moved forward based on that, not based on how people like me. The unfortunate part for, I think, your generation, for right now, everything is based on likes. Everything is based on views and streams. And so if you don't have that, sometimes you gauge your value to the industry, even sometimes your gift, what God has given you, base how you feel about what God said about you on what other people have said. God doesn't change his mind about you. But what God does require of you is for you to know the industry that you're in. A lot of y'all are upset about Grammy nominations and you're not even a member. You don't have any information on it. All you know is you want to be nominated. And they don't have me performing. My song is big. Listen, I've never performed on the Grammys, and I have 5 of them. I've been on the board. I've reviewed songs and determined whether or not they could be voted for. And still, I have never performed on the show. So what I want you to know and understand is there's so much more to it than what you know. Many of you, there are some of you who want to be signed to a major label, and some of you who think the major labels are the devil. I'm somewhere in the middle because it's devils on both sides. You understand where I'm coming from? Whether you work just in your church, it is easy to have your heart broken if you don't have proper perspective. You have to know who you're working for and why you do what you do. Here's the deal. If you have low self-esteem, if you're dealing with rejection, if you're dealing with those kind of things, the smallest thing can make you go, forget it. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to start a clothing line. Because there are many people who are supposed to be doing something else, but it felt too difficult, so they switched to something else. And because of God's grace, yes, you'll be successful with that, but it's not God's design for your life. I dare not go into other fields and other industries because I feel like God was taking too long. It all has to be in God's time. I saw somebody say, what did I miss? If you just got here, it's fine. Okay. I'm talking about music industry. But I want to give you some tips. The first thing I want to tell you is to not take people personal. Their yeses and nos are not a reflection of your anointing or your gifting. Their yeses and nos are sometimes based on their bank account, based on their fiscal year, based on what they're expecting. And what the enemy would like you to believe is your success or your failure is dependent on somebody inviting you somewhere, whether it's the BET Awards or the Stellar Awards or a certain concert. Maybe you want to sing at someone's church, the big churches, or you just want to be invited somewhere. You cannot base how you feel about you on what they say. I did it. I understand. I did it too. When me and Tina first started, if we weren't invited somewhere, I immediately thought, we weren't good enough. We didn't sing it good enough. The song wasn't good enough. Or then I changed my mind about that and said, wasn't my time, wasn't my audience, wasn't my moment. And that's okay. So I will celebrate someone else. And what I'll do is learn the business, because even in gospel, there's still business elements. And that's not sinful. Have you read the scripture? Plenty times in scripture, Jesus talks about doing business and being professional, having integrity, keeping your word. Because if we just talk about the being professional and keeping your word part, we could talk about that for a long time. Because many of you are not on time. You don't respond to people in a professional manner. You get requests and then you make outlandish demands because you think that's what it means to be, at that level. I don't know what y'all be thinking. I love y'all, but some of the things I hear, y'all be acting crazy. It has to be a balance of being humbled by what the Lord has given you and allowed you to do, professionalism and patience. And realizing what you put out is what you get back, right? If you don't respond to people, then when it's your turn to do an event or promote something, then people won't respond to you. If you think everything is based on money, then that's how people will respond to you. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, many of the things that I have gained in this industry is because I was always willing to be a good partner. You know what I mean? If I did an event and they came to me and, they said, hey, we're in this situation, but we'd still like to have you. I've never, ever been the artist that said, if you don't have my money, I'm not coming, because purpose goes beyond a dollar amount. Sometimes there's purpose in the event that is not big. Sometimes there's purpose in the church that is inviting you, that they don't have everything in order and their website isn't amazing. They don't have a bunch of artists, but there's something you're assigned to. Sometimes you got to take the brand and the building out of it and just do what God has called you to do. And that is to sing and to win the loss and to share, whether you are behind the microphone or you are the people that work for the artist. Because I've had some people who have worked for me, whether it was me by myself or Mary, and they were very, pumped up in the success that I had gained. So they thought that gave them the right to talk to people disrespectfully. I don't play those games at all. Whether it's the church or a big organization, I believe in treating people with respect. I believe in if I gave you my word and I told you I'm going to do something, then I'm going to do it. So a lot of you have given your word and you take it back because a bigger, better offer has come in. I know for a fact that's happened because it happened to me. I had a musician that was supposed to be playing for me and Tina. We were in New Orleans. It was during the Essence Music Festival, and a bigger artist called and they canceled on us. But guess what? We were all staying at the same hotel. So when we went for sound check, the very guy, the keyboard player who told us he couldn't play for us, we saw him going off to play with somebody else. We said, oh, hey, hi. You know that means we never called him back, right? And he's apologized every time. And I just love y'all whenever y'all need me. But I remember that you didn't keep your word. Not that you didn't play for me, but you didn't keep your word. You said you were going to do something and you didn't do it. We don't like when people lie to us. Why do we lie to ourselves about what we'll do and what we can do, and being professional and being on time and being there without making excuses? Professionalism goes a long way in the industry. And so what I need you to understand, that a lot of the things that come to me is not because I'm from Mary, not because I have a radio show. It's because I'm professional, that I treat people with care, that I love people, that I'm honored when I'm invited somewhere. I never go to an event going, oh, they called me again. Let me go and hear these bless these people. I'm always trying to figure out, Lord, what do you want me to give? And then what do you want me to learn? Because I learn something from every single audience. So I never go into with an attitude. Here's another little tidbit that I'll tell you. The enemy is going to kick your butt before you have a big event, a big ministry event, a big business meeting. It's going to be an argument with somebody that you love. It's going to be something frustrating because the enemy is trying to throw you off. Artists, managers, agents, publicists, musicians, you need to be focused when it comes to ministry. I can't tell you how many times right before the concert, something crazy would happen. I knew the enemy was trying to throw me off. So I wouldn't engage in that argument. I wouldn't engage in whatever that was because I didn't want it to knock me off my purpose or knock me off the road to where I was going. And it happens all the time. And some of y'all, I love y'all so much. Y'all literally will let a social media post throw you off. God is blessing you. You've released something, and because 2 or 3 people said they don't like it, you'll ignore the 500 people that said they love what you're doing and give the energy to the few people assigned by Satan to throw you off and acknowledge their comment. Stay focused. Stay focused on what God has given you. All right, now I want to talk about copycat syndrome. So I love and admire many people. I love Daryl Coley. I loved Tremaine Hawkins. I listened to the Hawkins, the Winans, the Clark sisters, Yolanda, all of them. I went to all of their concerts. John P. Key, all of them. I used to sneak in little tape recorders so I could record, just so I could sing like Yolanda. I literally did that. But I knew when I became an artist, I wanted to be me. I did not listen to the radio and say, what's number one? Let's make a song like that. And what I feel like is happening in this season is a lot of you, you're trying to be so calculated till you're not even allowing God to give you an original song, an original idea, something that no one else ever heard before, which is challenging to do. You just I'm going to take their song, take a few pieces, and I'm going to stir it up and add some more butter and salt and say, here, this is a new song. But what you're really doing is you biting, really. And then you're trying to figure out why it's not working because it's not authentically you. It is difficult. Yes, it is difficult to do something original. It is difficult to be the artist where everybody else is in this kind of praise and worship mode. And then here I come with a song like I Love God. I wasn't surprised when people were like, oh, what is this? But I knew I was supposed to be doing it. I wasn't surprised when I would do an event and they would ask me, could you sing a little more Jesus and not the other one? I wasn't surprised. That didn't bother me. I didn't get offended by that. I knew that God had challenged me to do something different from everybody else, which meant that I would have to take some of the negative comments, which meant I would have to understand if I went to a church and they would say, hey, they would try to nicely ask which song I was singing. That's a difficult position to be in. You have to be very confident in who you are and who God called you to be to bypass that, because I think, an artist that maybe hasn't experienced what I've experienced might have very well left the church and said, I ain't doing none of this. Forget y'all. Everybody's not where you are. That's fine. Some of you are artists, but you don't understand publishing. You don't really understand the industry. You don't really understand radio. Some of you don't even really understand social media. You just want to go viral. You don't know what viral means. What happens after I go viral? Is viral a setup? Do people plan to go viral? Do they have a plan in place after? There are a lot of things to think about when you're an artist. And none of this has to get in the way of your faith, right? Because God is still leading and guiding you, but sometimes he's giving you something to push you in a new place that's going to require something new. So what you did at your church is different than what you're going to do if you're on a theater stage. What you do at your church is different than what you're going to do if you get invited to Jimmy Kimmel. Not that you're switching it up because you're acting different. It's like if you go to an unchurched audience and you say, praise the Lord, everybody, and they not churchy, they're going to be like, hey, what's up? But if you go to church, you say, praise the Lord, everybody, ain't going to say, praise the Lord. They're going to do all the churchy things, right? So what I really want you guys to know is you have to understand the audience that you're singing to. That's if you sing in R&B, all of that. It's so many R&B singers that's really gospel singers, and they do their R&B shows, and they be so churchy. I think it's amazing. I think it's cool. Whatever you're assigned to, be authentically yourself. Don't be what you think people will like, and you'll get successful that way. Don't shift because you want acceptance. Don't become something else, but be authentically you. If you need therapy, get therapy. If you need a better management team and your mama and your auntie and your cousin ain't cracking and they're not equipped, it's okay to move on. When we first started, I had my big cousin. She was all I knew. So we used my big cousin. As I realized that she didn't know that much about the business, we shifted to someone else. And I didn't feel bad about it. And I didn't apologize for it. So what I want you to know is when it comes to the people around you and how you operate, it will stretch you in ways that you've never been stretched before. It will require you to be informed and engaged. A lot of things is based on relationships, but those relationships are not foolproof to you being invited, accepted, or anything like that. Hi from Brazil. Brazil, I love you too. I want to come. I just want to give as much as I can. I'm going to give you this other example. So I was talking to some gospel artists about the Stellar Awards, and they were saying, oh, they give you guys everything. And I just chuckled because a lot of times at the Stellar Awards, it is the labels who pay for your performances. It is the labels who pay for your hotel rooms and even your flights there. The Stellar Awards does not pay for that. And that's not a good or a bad thing. They have a whole show to take care of it. So if they had to take care of each and every artist, can you imagine what that budget would be like? So it was time for us to go to an award show, and I was talking to these artists, and they was like, they give you everything. I said, do you remember that year Mary performed and we did Real Party with Ty Tribbett? We paid for the rehearsals. We paid for our clothes. And when we wanted Ty, we paid for the extras. That's how it goes. They're not being mean to you. That's a part of the business. So I remember calling Kirk when he performed one year, and he had like a car on stage and he had all this stuff. And I was like, man, they give all of that to you. He was like, oh no, I paid for that. I'm not saying that you have to pay for everything, but what I want you to do, I want you to have perspective on how things really go. Now listen, Mr. Campbell singing really loud. What I want you to know is if you don't have any of this information and you think because you are a certain place on the charts, you'll automatically get invited and you'll automatically be performing, that is not the truth. And are you a member of the Stellar Awards? Do you vote? Do you go to any of the meetings? Are you a part of the Announcers Guild, where the radio announcers get together and listen to music? Do you know that information? You can't be mad at the industry and you haven't informed yourself on what it is. There's plenty of people who can sing circles around you and me and all of us, but they're sitting at home because they don't have any desire to do the work part of the business. They don't have any desire to be professional. They don't have any desire to do things. That's not a good or bad thing. That's just what they choose, and that's okay. But if you are in the industry and you're not professional and you're waiting on someone to see you, you got to see yourself first. How do you see yourself? Because you can't base how you feel about you with what they say, because it changes all the time. I'm telling you. Listen, y'all know my story. Y'all know they beat Mary up. And then when it was time for me to do it myself, they did the same. I just kept smiling and kept singing. Many of you have heard my my stellar story. So when I first started as a solo artist, I wanted to perform a little more Jesus, right? And by this time I had already won several stellars. I had already hosted the show maybe 2 or 3 times. But when it came time for me to perform by myself, they were like, we're not sure if people even want to see her by herself. So of course I had to beg and ask and, you know what I mean, tell them why and convince them. So when it came time for me to perform, they gave me a minute and 34 seconds. I did not perform the whole song, just a minute and 34 seconds. And I was upset about it. My husband said, you can do 2 things. You can get upset and say, I'm not going, or you can accept it and take that minute and 34 and sing like you're losing your mind. So I remember getting there and I was talking to one of my friends backstage and he was like, man, they didn't let you perform by yourself. That's messed up. And I was like, it's cool. I'm here. I came with a lighting person as if it was my own performance. I came with Lorianne Gibson, who was not inexpensive, to make sure that the performance was good. And for my minute and 34, which I had to perform with Lexi, with Latisse Crawford and Jacqueline Carr, we all performed together. And I made sure that I came with a good attitude and with a team mentality that whole performance for all of us would be good, not just me. And even though I could have been upset because, oh, I won a Grammy, I have an American Music Award. They didn't know Erica by herself. That's fine. I came humbly. I was on time. I said thank you for the invitation. I made sure that I thanked the camera people. And even though I got there and they weren't ready for me yet, and I still had to sit and wait, I still had a good attitude. That performance was probably one of the best of my career. But I had the right spirit before I went into it. And a lot of times the spirit that you have going into whatever it is you do is very important. So if you have a manager who does not know who's who in the gospel industry and they treat people with disrespect, you're going to have a hard time. If you only respond to the emails that you recognize, you're going to have a hard time. Because sometimes the very person that you brush off could be the manager, could be the promoter, could be the person that's signing your check. Your spirit and your personality and your attitude are very important. So by the time you get to this stage, there have been emails, there have been communication, no, Eric Dawkins, I'm not saying who it was. There have been so many things that have happened. And by the time you get there, they just want you to get up and sing and get off the stage because you've been unprofessional. You missed flights. You waste money. You told them you needed an extra room in an extra hotel, even though they committed to a certain thing. And you weren't professional because you didn't know what you wanted to ask for. That is unprofessional to ask someone that's doing an event at the last minute, give me 2 more flights and 3 more hotel rooms. You know how much money that is? People don't want to just throw their money away on you. And then when you get there, you ain't even good. Come on, man. We have to get our spirits right. We have to get our hearts right. But we also have to be professional. And when you have your cousin and them managing you and they cussing people out in the name of Jesus, I know everybody's not saved. I understand that. I understand people are sometimes unprofessional and whack. I get it. But I'm not going to join that party. I'm not going to do that. Because then how am I going to block my blessings? How am I going to get in? I don't want to get in the way of what God is trying to do for me, to me, and through me because I allow the enemy to take me off course and get a bad attitude. I'll tell you, you can't talk to me like that. Sometimes they will talk to you bad. I remember me and Tina went to a church in Vegas. Oh, man, we were so excited to go because there's not a lot of gospel concerts in Vegas. So we were there and we get there and the artist is like, the promoter, is like, after I get the ticket sales, I'll make sure you get your payment, which is code for I ain't got your money. So, my manager at the time was not a believer. And he might have shared some words that were not gospel-esque. But we did tell him, let's just make sure that we have what we're supposed to have before we go on stage. So by this time, the audience had been sitting there about 15, 20 minutes. And I just don't like that because I don't believe holding the audience hostage for what the promoter didn't do. So the promoter was like, let me see what I got. It was about 20 chairs. He started laying $1 bills out on the chairs, y'all. I kid you not. I knew we didn't have the money. So me and Tina said, listen, we're not going to do the hour set, but we will give 35 minutes because those people have been sitting there. They bought tickets. They've been waiting. So we sang for them anyway. We knew. You're so loud. Mr. Campbell, come here. We knew and understood that the audience, we didn't want to hold the audience hostage for what the promoter didn't do. But I made a note that we weren't going to work with him again. What happens when you're the one that's unprofessional? Who has your name on a list because you came to sing and because you sing so good, you were high or drunk or not there or not prepared? All that matters, y'all. Not only to the promoter and the people who bought tickets, but to God. Come on now. Listen, I know our industry. I know our genre. I know that we're not perfect. And God calls the imperfect sometimes because he wants to be a reflection of goodness in your life and allow you to grow and let you see that he is merciful and gracious and kind, and allow you to get up and sing and perform and do whatever you do when you know in your heart that you need to repent, when you know in your heart you didn't handle things right. A lot of the places that I have gotten in my career now is because I put the work in. When I first started as a solo artist, many people had many misconceptions about who Mary was, partially because of bad experiences. Some was because of the reality show, and they had watched things. And so TV exaggerates everything. And I had to come behind that and prove myself. After 17 years in, I still had to prove myself. After, at that time, 4 Grammys, I still had to prove myself. And my manager, my team, and, everybody that was on my team at that time, they said, Erica, listen, they got a lot of wrong ideas. And a lot of them were like, nah, I know she can sing, but we good. I'm cool. If you go, they're not going to pay you the rate you used to. You're not staying in a five-star hotel. They may not fly you first class. And I said, it's fine. I'll do it anyway. Because I want them to see that inviting Erica Campbell means integrity, means I'm going to bring a Christ-like attitude and spirit. I'm going to be professional before I get to the stage and on stage. And even after, I won't treat people nasty or rude. And a lot of times that's not the case. We're so busy trying to point out everybody else's wrong to justify us not doing the right thing. And I don't think that God is pleased. It takes more time than what you think it takes to become what you want to become. Hi, Andre. I see members from my church. What's up, Cali Worship? And it's cool. I know I have a lot of artists at my church, a lot of actors and stuff at my church. And now what would it be like if me as a first lady, I'm a jerk, right? And these are the very same people who have supported my music before I came. Wouldn't that be awful? Your music has literally ushered some people into where they want to be. And then when they meet you, it's like, do you even know Jesus at all? God is gracious and he's kind. And when you stand before the throne, I won't be there. But if you have not gotten there yet, if your record hasn't been released yet, if you don't have all the followers on social media yet, start with integrity. Start with professionalism. Start with really being connected to Father. Start with making sure that your ear is in tune with what the Holy Spirit is saying. So when it is your time, you still have a good attitude. When it is your time, you're not treating people bad. When it is your time, you know how to open the door for other people. Listen, I put out songs that have not been number 1. Whether I'm number 5 or number 12, I'm grateful. And I'm going to celebrate who's at number 1. I'm not going to say I'm better than them. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I remember me and Tina had sang at the Wilshire E-Bill Theater. It's a theater here in Los Angeles. A lot of the stage plays, have been there. And it was somebody who I thought I was really good friends with. And he came up after a concert and he said, I've been mad at you for years. Because I know I sing better than you. And I was trying to figure out, how did they become successful and not me? He said that to my face. To my face. And I said, oh, you are actually extremely talented. And I can't wait for God to open the door for you. Because when he does, I'm going to be on the front row cheering for you. Because we've been here in LA and in choirs together. I did not take that offensively. Well, maybe I did for a little bit. I'm not offended now. I might have been offended back then. People will say things. I have not and will not create a list of everybody that's done something wrong with me. I will not and have not create a list of people that I can't talk to them because they said this. I done had so many people that tried to play me. That's okay. That's all right. Comes with it. Life is hills and valleys. especially as an artist. You'll have times when people will embrace you. Then you'll have times when people are not interested. How will you respond? Will you keep your cool? Will you keep your faith? What do you do when you know that you can sing super, super good? The songs that you have are amazing, but still you haven't gotten a deal or your music isn't being played on radio. Are you patient or are you a hater? Do you support other people? Do you listen to other music? Or are you so into yourself you can't even take good information from someone else? I know it's people who can sing circles around me, but nobody can be Erica better than Erica. And I stand very confident in that. In all that God has created me to be, I stand very confident in who I am. Right. And so whether I am in a circle with the greatest of the greats, because I've been in all of the circles, thanks be to God. I've been around the top R&B folks, the top gospel folks, and I have to remain Erica. But I can't be Erica if I don't know who she is. Do you know who you are? Are you trying to be you or are you trying to be someone else? It'll never work. You have to be authentically you. You have to understand, if you're a songwriter, you have to understand the business. If you're a producer, you got to understand the business. If you're a musician, you have to understand the business. I remember me and Tina had a song that was supposed to go on the beginning of our third record, the record with the Mary Mary record, the one with Yesterday. And it was this amazing song. And the songwriter wanted 100%. He didn't want to give us anything, even though we had rewritten some things. So it was really a collaborative effort. And because the person was so difficult, the song never made the record. I don't know if the song was ever released. I've never heard it anywhere. But sometimes in your effort to be professional, and ain't nobody gonna take advantage of me, you don't know how to work with people. It was a great song. It was this a cappella number that was super, super creative, and it was supposed to open that record. And we did not use the song because the person was like, I need this much money or you can't have the song. I was like, oh, we're right, baby. So we'll just write another one. But you go ahead with your song. So to all my songwriters out there, make sure you have the right spirit. And yes, if you work with a producer, yes, they get half of the creative of the song because the song and lyric make up the song. I know many of you who have gotten into issues as songwriters because you think I wrote the song and since I did the whole song is mine. But if you had somebody come in, a musician, a piano player, a bass player, whatever, and helped you to create, you have to give them part of the creative. Know the business. What books are you reading? What are you doing to learn? Hello, Pastor Torre. What are you doing to make sure that you are effective as an artist? And even my worship leaders, even y'all, some of y'all got superstar mentality. So it's really hard for you to be humbled because God uses you every Sunday. Yes, God uses you every Sunday, but be humble. And the pastor is not against you because he didn't like the song that you chose. And that doesn't mean that you need to leave the church. Sometimes submission is what God is trying to teach you. And so you have to be patient. I'm grateful for what I've learned. And I just wanted to share a bit of that with you tonight. I'm trying to get Mr. Campbell to come with me. Let me see if I can trick him into it. Mr. Campbell. Warren Campbell. Yes. What are you doing, honey? You need me? I do need you. Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to Jubu.
Dr. Boo. Ladies and gentlemen.
Wait.
Jubu.
Wait, can you see me?
Dr. Boo. Jubu, who's played on many Mary Mary songs. My husband got good big time friends. Hey, I'm talking about industry to these folks. Y'all say hi. Say hello, Pastor.
Hey.
You talking about the industry?
I am. And I'm telling people to be professional and know the business.
Listen, he's at Royal Records right now.
What's Royal Records?
Willie Mitchell studio where Al Green recorded all his records. He's showing me around. Yeah, he's in Memphis right now.
Are you recording something for Erica Campbell?
That's the organ you hear right now. That's the same organ that was played on Love and
Wow. The same organ that was played on Love It. I'm trying to get healthy, Dr. Boo. I'm trying to be the best version of myself.
What are you trying to do?
I wanted to ask you some industry stuff, but you're too busy.
She has to ask you some questions. I'll call you back.
Bye, Jubu.
Hey, go ahead and do your thing, man. I love y'all.
We love you too.
I love you, man. In a minute.
So I want to ask him, Mr. Campbell, working with artists, what is something that can I sit on your lap? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Sir, what is something that bothers you about artists? There's something that he said to me that always stuck with me.
That's loud.
That's your children. Quiet children. He said usually the artist is the most disloyal person. So mostly artists.
Oh, yeah.
If something goes wrong, you'll fire your whole team. You don't take responsibility for your part.
What can I tell you what I meant by that?
What did you mean?
In the equation, like, okay, when you take the collective of what it takes to build a career, an artist career, which is the label, the hey guys,
Sorry, we have children.
Bug, be quiet. You got the artist, you got the label, you got the management, you got the producer, you got the artist band, the road manager, the team, right? We're doing good. The artist is doing well. Everybody's doing it's great. The artist wins a Grammy. And they get up and they thank all those people. The next album doesn't do so good. The artist usually goes, I have to fire everybody. I'm fired. That producer, he sucks. I got to get a new management. I hate this label. But they never blame themselves. It's always everybody else. So, we're always beholden to that artist in their lack of loyalty, because they want to fire everybody when their career ain't going the right way. You haven't said, oh, you know what? These songs weren't great. The songs I wrote weren't great, or I was on my prima donna foolishness, and I just wasn't coming. I wasn't as disciplined as I was before.
Right.
It's never the artist. It's always somebody else.
Well, some artists take responsibility, like me, right?
Yeah, you do. You do.
What I do know is that there's so much more to learn, and I just wanted to kind of come on tonight and encourage you guys and let you know that you do need to keep going, but you do need to educate yourself. Don't create music with your fist up like you're fighting people. I'll show them. You know what I mean?
That never works out.
Never works. I don't do music for haters. I don't even call people haters. As far as I'm concerned, everybody loves me and I love everybody. Don't tell me nothing different. That's what my Uncle Charles taught me. So when it comes to business, what I basically want y'all to know is to be professional, be educated on the business that you're in. Don't take people personal.
Keep your doggone word.
Keep your word.
If you said you was going to do it,
do it.
I don't care what happens in between you saying it and that period of time, that interim before you actually get it done. Mm-hmm. A lot of things could happen in between there. Mm-hmm. But it always starts and ends with your word.
Yeah.
I said I was going to do it.
Yes.
Okay. I signed on the dotted line, said I was going to be there, I was going to show up and do it. And then something happened in the middle. I got busy, or somebody else called me with a better offer.
Right. Or
something else happened I didn't like. None of that matters. Mm-hmm. My word said, I'm gonna do this. Mm-hmm. Right? So you gotta keep your word.
Keep your word. God will open doors for you, but you have to walk through them. God has given you a talent, but you have to cultivate it. You may have a song, but there is more to it than just a song. And like he mentioned, all the pieces to the puzzle, all the parts of your team, and maybe the team is not a whole bunch of people. Maybe it's just you. You may have to work
because we don't have a large team.
We don't.
Everything that we do, we've done. Our team is family style. It might be at most it might be 5 or 6 people on the squad at one time, moving any one of our artists around. We don't have a huge team, we never have. But like the team is dedicated. Shout out to Ebony Funderburg. Shout out to JoJo Potter. Shout out to Misty Anderson. Shout out to Dan Otero.
Yes.
Shout out to Ryan DeReamer and all my creative team members.
Yeah.
Rodney Jones and Chris Payton and who else?
Your are funny.
Because I'm
You're drawing a blank. We've got a great team of people, and it doesn't take 1 million people to help you get to the next place. Mm-hmm. But you have to make sure that the people that you're working with are assigned to you. I've been to many big companies because I figure if I go to a bigger company, they'll make me bigger. And that bigger company would ask, well, what else are you doing? What else are you working on? Because it wasn't my time to work with that company, it doesn't mean that I'm less than or not enough. It just wasn't my season for that relationship. So whether you've been...
Shout out to K-Base.
K-Base.
Kendall Lewis.
Yes.
I'm shouting out all my guys that make music with me. Shout out to Jubu.
Yes. But what I want you to know and understand is that it takes time to learn and know and grow as an artist. Like I said earlier when I was talking about the awards and all that different stuff, if you're not a member of NARIS and you don't go to any of the meetings, you almost don't have the right to get upset if you're not nominated, or whether that's the Stellars, the Image Awards, whatever that is. Be a part of the industry that you say you want to be a part of.
They never nominate. They always look over us. They're not looking over. They're not looking over you. You looking over them.
Right, you didn't go.
You didn't go to the meeting. You didn't. You better join theirs and be counted.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, husband. I appreciate you.
I can go to sleep now.
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
I love and appreciate y'all. I'm going to go now. I think the next time I do this, I want to talk about digital because that's so much a part of the industry. And some of you have one of the parts and not the other. Like you got the digital cracking, but your other parts are not in place. So I will send some information about when I'm going to do this again, just to talk about industry. Erica in the industry. I just made that up. That's not the real title. But I just want to help as much as I can. You have to be educated. You have to be informed. Don't walk around with a chip on your shoulder. Don't let the enemy manipulate how you think about you. And when it's time for God to use you, you can't because you're so busy being in your feelings. Right? I know we love talking about being in your feelings, but my feelings don't matter. What does God say about me? What is God trying to teach me, show me? Sometimes you do need to humble yourself. Sometimes you do need to sit down. Sometimes it is not your time to shine. Sometimes it's someone else's turn, and you need to celebrate other people and not have a pity party and be upset because they didn't call your name. Now, I know I'm a little bit different, and there's so much that I'm unbothered by, so I'm not expecting you to be like me. I've had my heart broken enough by the industry to where, somebody can say something crazy, and I'll be like, it'll be fine next week, because I truly believe it will. I think you can live anything down. I think you can keep growing and keep being professional, and at the right time, when you're ready, God will open that door, and nobody can close it. I've seen him do it in my life. And I came in this room. I wasn't intentionally coming in this room, but all those awards and all that stuff is not a testament to how amazing I am, but to God's goodness, to me being consistent, to my professionalism, to stretching myself, to not being afraid. So don't be afraid. I come against the spirit of fear. A lot of you want to do what I'm doing, but you're scared. Don't be scared. It's fine. Listen, I started singing when I was 5. I didn't get signed. My record didn't come out till I was 28. I am now 48 years old. I still desire it just as much as I did before. I still want it just as much as I did before. And I'll be professional, and I'll keep pushing and keep waiting on God to give me new ideas, innovative ideas. And in the meantime, if I can share some wisdom with you, I absolutely will. All right. I love y'all, and I mean it. Y'all have a great, great evening. I got to go now. Bye.